They say time heals all wounds. Whoever they are never spent 3 tours in Afghanistan, never held a brother's dog tags while his blood cooled in the desert sand, never had to choose between saving one life and sacrificing another. The letter came yesterday. Jimmy's mom, 23 years old, and she's writing to thank me for bringing her boy home. If she only knew. My apartment in Detroit looks like a holding cell. Bare walls, military-issued furniture, photos I can't bear to look at, turned face down on the nightstand. Sarah used to say I lived like I was ready to deploy at a moment's notice. She wasn't wrong. I turn off the morning news. Can't stomach hearing about the new kids over there making the same choices we made, the same impossible choices. My phone buzzes on the table. Group therapy, 2 p.m. Don't miss it, Marcus. Dr. Chen. Group therapy. Where broken soldiers sit in a circle and pretend talking about it makes the ghosts go away. Where we nod and say all the right words about processing trauma and finding closure. But some things can't be processed. Some choices follow you home. Helmand Province, day 847 of my second deployment. The heat could kill you before the Taliban got the chance. We were escorting a medical convoy to a forward operating base when everything went to hell. The IED hit without warning. Suddenly, Jimmy Rodriguez was shouting over the ringing in my ears. "Marcus, we got casualties." Jimmy Rodriguez, kid from Phoenix with a smile that could light up a blackout. He joined up to pay for medical school, wanted to be a pediatrician, always carried pictures of his nieces in his helmet. "Jimmy, status report," I shouted back as gunfire erupted around us. "Doc Williams is down bad, Sarge. Real bad. And we got a local kid caught in the crossfire. Can't be more than 12. That's when I saw them. Doc Williams, our medic, bleeding out from shrapnel wounds. And next to him, a young Afghan boy, probably someone's son, caught between our convoy and the Taliban fighters using him as cover. The radio crackled with urgent voices. "Bravo 6, this is Overwatch. You have enemy contacts approaching from the north. Multiple hostiles, heavily armed." The extraction helicopter could only take one critical casualty. The pilot was screaming over the radio. "Taliban reinforcements inbound, 60 seconds to lift off, or we'd all be dead." "Marcus, who do we save?" Jimmy's voice was desperate, pleading. People think war is about heroes and villains, good guys and bad guys, clean lines. But when you're standing in the sand with blood on your hands and 60 seconds to make a choice that will haunt you forever, there are no clean lines. I chose Doc Williams, my guy, my responsibility. The kid, the Afghan boy. I told myself he was probably going to die anyway, that the Taliban would use him as a human shield, that saving one of our own was the right call. But right and wrong aren't the same thing, are they? At group therapy, Dr. Chen asks me to share what's been on my mind. "Just thinking about choices, Doc." "What kind of choices?" Tommy, another veteran who lost his legs to an IED, leans forward. "We all got choices that keep us up at night, Marcus. That's why we're here." "Ever wonder if we're just telling ourselves stories?" I ask. "Making excuses for the things we did over there?" "What kind of stories, Marcus?" Dr. Chen probes gently. "Stories about duty, about impossible situations, about how we didn't have a choice." Sarah, a female veteran in our group, shifts uncomfortably. "Sometimes we didn't have a choice." My voice builds with intensity. "But what if we did? What if we had a choice and we just chose wrong?" The room falls silent. I can feel everyone staring at me. I need to tell you all something, I continue, my voice breaking. About Afghanistan. About a choice I made. And for the first time in 4 years, I told the truth. All of it. The boy's face. The extra space on the helicopter. The lie I'd been telling myself about impossible choices and noble sacrifices. His name was Nasir, I say, voice shaking. The boy. I found out later from the interpreter. He was 12 years old. He died because I was a coward. Tommy reaches out. Marcus, I saved Doc Williams because it was the easy choice, the comfortable choice, and I've been calling it honor for 4 years. The truth, the real truth I've never told anyone. I could have saved them both. There was room on the bird. The pilot was wrong about the weight restrictions. I found out later, after the after-action report, after it was too late. I chose to save only Doc Williams because it was easier. Because he was one of us. Because I was scared of the questions I'd have to answer if I brought home an Afghan civilian instead of an American soldier. That night, I called Jimmy's mother, the woman who wrote to thank me for bringing her boy home. Mrs. Rodriguez? This is Sergeant Marcus Webb. I served with Jimmy. Oh, Sergeant Webb. I was hoping you'd call. I wanted to thank you personally. Ma'am, I need to tell you something about your son, about the kind of man he was. I told her about the choice, about Nasir, about how Jimmy had volunteered to stay behind to try to save the boy, even though it meant risking his own life. How Jimmy had argued with me, begged me to make room for both of them. Your son died trying to do the right thing, Mrs. Rodriguez. He died because I wouldn't listen to him. Through her tears, she said, "That sounds like my Jimmy. Always trying to save everyone." Yes, ma'am. He was better than me. Sergeant Webb. Marcus. Jimmy wrote about you in his letters. He said you carried the weight for all of them, that you made the hard choices so they didn't have to. My son chose to serve under you. He chose to trust you. Maybe it's time you started trusting yourself. That night, I walked to the nightstand and turned over the photographs I'd kept face down for 4 years. Jimmy's smile, Doc Williams with his kids, the whole squad, arms around each other, laughing at some joke I can't remember. And I started writing. A letter to Nasir's family, a letter I should have written 4 years ago. My name is Marcus Webb. I was an American soldier in your country. Your son Nasir died because of a choice I made. I cannot ask for your forgiveness, but I want you to know that he will not be forgotten. The truth doesn't change what happened. Nasir is still dead. Jimmy is still dead. Doc Williams came home broken and never really healed. But the truth is the only thing that can carry us forward. 3 months later, I got a response. Nasir's father, writing in broken English through a translator. He thanked me for the truth. Said his son would have wanted the American soldiers to come home safe. Said Nasir had dreamed of being a doctor, just like Jimmy. Dr. Chen called me one morning. Marcus, there's someone here who wants to meet you. A young Afghan refugee. His name is Hamid. He's starting medical school and he heard about the scholarship fund you started. The Nasir Rodriguez Memorial Scholarship. For refugee children who want to study medicine. Jimmy's mom helped me set it up. Said it was what both boys would have wanted. Dr. Chen, I'll be right there. At the clinic, Dr. Chen introduced me to a young man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Sergeant Webb, I wanted to thank you. Son, you don't need to thank me for anything. But I do. You see, Nasir was my cousin. The world stopped. What? My uncle? Nasir's father? He told me about your letter, about what happened that day, about how you have carried this pain for so long. I stared at this young man, barely older than Nasir would have been. Nasir always said he wanted to be a doctor, to help people. Through your scholarship, through this program, he still can. We both can. He continued, Sergeant Webb, Marcus, my cousin did not die for nothing, and neither did your friend Jimmy. They died so that we could learn to do better, to choose love over fear, to choose truth over comfortable lies. I began to cry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I couldn't save him. But you did save him. Every child who becomes a doctor because of this scholarship, that is Nasir living on. Every person they heal, that is Jimmy's dream coming true. 6 months later, I stood at Arlington National Cemetery at Jimmy's grave. I brought Hamid with me. He wanted to pay his respects to the soldier who died trying to save his cousin. Hey, Jimmy, I said to the headstone. I brought someone to meet you. I think you would have liked him. Hamid knelt beside the grave. Thank you for trying to save my cousin, Jimmy. I promise I will make both of you proud. We stood there in silence, two people from different worlds, connected by loss and hope, and the understanding that sometimes the hardest choices we make can still lead to redemption. The weight of choice never leaves you. But maybe that's not a burden. Maybe it's a reminder that every decision matters. Every life has value. Every truth, no matter how painful, is worth telling. Jimmy was right that day in the desert. We could have saved them both. I just wasn't brave enough to try. But Hamid was right too. Sometimes our failures can teach us how to succeed. Sometimes our guilt can guide us toward grace. I still dream about Afghanistan. I still see Nasir's face. But now, when I wake up, I don't reach for the whiskey. I reach for the letters. Letters from scholarship recipients. Letters from families who've been helped by the foundation. Letters that remind me that even in our darkest choices, light can find a way through. The weight of choice. It's not a burden to bear alone. It's a truth to share. A lesson to teach. A bridge to build between what was and what still can be. Standing there at Jimmy's grave, with Hamid beside me, I finally understood. Redemption doesn't erase the past. It transforms it. It takes our deepest failures and shapes them into something that can heal the world. Some choices follow you home. But if you're brave enough to face the truth, sometimes they can lead you to grace.